What is up, you guys? This is All Day Any Day 1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you a build breakdown video for Ghost Rider. So let's go ahead and look at his traits. So his two main attributes are strength and energy. His base crit damage is increased by 15%. He also gets 210 health per second as well from the defensive tree. Defense rating multiplier and deflect rating multiplier are increased by 20%. Defense rating and deflect rating are increased by a base of 600. He also gains close quarters, which allows him to get a damage reduction for 8% for 3 seconds only when he does melee damage. He also gains an ability called Pale Rider, not necessarily an ability but a passive trait where you're using your movement ability, your travel power, and you leave a trail of flame, or flame trail I suppose. It's called Flame Wake. Flame Wake damage deals 42-47 twice per second. Flame Wake duration lasts for 3 seconds, so it leaves a trail of fire. So for my abilities, my Inferno Wheelie is the dash ability. It also applies Hellfire on hit to enemies, and yeah, so I put that one on L2 circle. Judgment, I put that on circle. Hell from above, I put that on L2 triangle. Damnation, I put that one on X. Chain snare, I put that one on square, or L2 square. Penance there, your signature, I put that one on L2X. Infernal Contract, I put that on L2 triangle, and Inferno, I put that on L2 square. So the reason why I'm using Damnation is because it does a ton of damage, as well as, well, yeah, it just does a ton of damage. It's a channeling ability. The only downside about it is it does cost health, so gotta keep that in mind. The chain snare is the reason why I use chain snare is because, one, it immobilizes your enemies, and also it applies Hellfire as well, and I believe Hellfire can actually stack, so it would be good to have this, so that way they're stuck in one spot for 3 seconds, and they'll have Hellfire applied to them. Inferno, well, it does nice AoE and damage over time as well, is making the enemies vulnerable, and you can pop up to 2 of these as well, which is really nice. Infernal Contract, it's not called Infernal Contract, it's I forgot what it would actually be called. Vengeance is what it's called. So it's originally called Vengeance, but with the talent it's called Infernal Contract. With Infernal Contract you get a bunch of damage buffs, and you also get a 30% damage resistance, but the only downside is it reduces your max health by 50%, but it also has a 2-second Terrify duration, or to apply Terrify duration for 2 seconds. But all the damage buffs is really nice. You'll definitely see a huge noticeable difference, especially when you use Infernal Contract and then use Judgment. You'll see a big damage buff for that. The reason why I use Judgment is because originally it has 100% crit chance, but with the talent it applies to brutal, it gives you 100% brutal strike chance, so that would definitely help you put out more damage. Hell from above, the talent makes you lose, it costs 20% of your health, but the damage output is really nice as well. And even though it does cost health, for both of these abilities they cost health, it doesn't really matter too much when you use there's gonna be a medallion you're gonna be using, and I'll get to that later, but yeah, it'll come down to what your medallion is. So for my talents, I'm using Eternal Damnation. The main reason why I'm using this is because of the non-spirit cost, so that way you're able to keep spamming it. But it does require health. switches the spirit cost with your health, and it increases your damage by double, by 100%, and the power radius, so it increases the radius by 50%. Fires of Vengeance, I'm using this one because you're basically using all fire abilities. So all of your fire abilities gain a 10% crit chance and 10% extra damage increase. Fire powers, Hellfire damage is increased by 25%. One final show, Hell from Above, gains the following effects: damage 100%. Spirit cost reduction is down to nothing, but it costs to your health. So 20% of your max health is what it requires. When you're below 50% max health, you gain a 100% crit hit chance with this. Impact Sight creates an instance of Inferno. Inferno Contract Vengeance transforms into Inferno Contract. Inferno Contract is a buff effect that which reduces your max health in exchange for powerful offensive abilities. Last one I'm using was Chains of Vengeance. Judgment always deals Brutal Strike. Chain of Fleshade buff potency 100%. So whatever that chain of Fleshade, it gets double the damage. I did test it. It's not bad. The damage is really nice, but I just chose to stick with what I have on right now. Vengeance of Incarnate is actually a really good one as well, but I just stuck with this one just because I mean the judgment is really nice to have with the 100% brutal strike, but then again, Vengeance of Incarnate would be really good because of that 3% extra damage rather than it being 2%. That 3% would be really nice. Also, it'll automatically apply or activate Inferno Contract, so you would technically have two Inferno Contracts being able to be active. So from the Vengeance of Incarnate or the Penance there and the ability itself. For the synergies, I'm just going to go over the ones that I would highly recommend using, the ones that I'm using right now for your 10. So the one would be Ant-Man for the credit, or the credits doesn't matter, but the strength. Blades for the health on hit and attack speed. Daredevils for the damage to normal and elites, and the melee power. Doctor Strange, because you, believe it or not, you do have magic powers. So your fire, all of your Hellfire abilities are magic abilities. So yeah, and then Gambits is next for the energy attribute. Ghost Rider would be the next one to go for with the extra firepower. Hawkeye for the crit damage. Scarlet Witch for the damage over time. Squirrel Girl for the 4% boss damage. And War Machine for the +1 fighting attribute. And now I put 4 points into energy and the rest into crit damage. If you do not have 25 points to put into your attributes, or if you just don't want to put any points into your attributes for some reason, then I would highly recommend putting points into mental focus and for your crit damage increase, brutal damage increase from strike through. Even potency would be a good one to use for your penance there. Possibly the inner resilience. I would probably say restoration would be the better choice. Micro warps or gravity well, and temporal loophole. I believe there's one of your abilities that gain increased damage. Yeah, so damnation increases damage 1% by 1% of your attack speed. So if you want to, you could always put points into temporal loophole if you want to deal more damage with damnation. For my for my inventory, for my gear, I'm using a lot of cosmics, but a lot of my cosmics don't have that great of stats. I just opened boxes and then just went straight into cosmic trials. So yeah, my gear is not optimized at all. This is probably the only good thing here. It's the ring and artifacts and my amulet or medallion. Um, yeah. And then for my artifacts, I'm using advanced crimson crystal sidorak, in energy infused pistols, and pyro's flamethrower. So none of these are necessarily the top tier ones you want to use. Um, I'm only using them just because, well, I'm using the advanced crimson crystal sidorak and pyro's flamethrower because they both can give you shield. I'm using energy infused pistols because it has a +4 energy, and then also you have a 9% chance to become stealth when you hit. It's 30-second cooldown though, and you also get the brutal strike rating. Advanced crimson crystal sidorak, you get that 2% chance when you hit to create a shield which absorbs 6320 damage. You also get +2 strength. You also get a nice chunk of health as well. Pyro's flamethrower, it gives you 6.9% attack speed +2 energy. You also gain fire damage and barrier. Well, so I would say this is actually a really good one for a Ghost Rider. So this would probably be a good best in slot artifact in my opinion. My relic, I'm using Relic of Gibberim. I would probably say the better relic would be either Subterranea or Xander, or Xander.
Vengeance will be served this day.
I mean, Relic of Gibberim isn't a bad one to use, but yeah, I would highly recommend Xander or Subterranea. For my catalyst, I'm only using this catalyst because it gave me the regenerate 25% of your health up to 3,100 spirit when you use medkits, and gain damage shield equal to 50% of your max health when you use your medkit. The health on hit, 150 health on defeat when you defeat an enemy. So that's not too bad, I guess. For the medallion, this is really, really, really important. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend getting the Malekith medallion. Regardless of the tier, it can be a green one or it can be a cosmic one. It doesn't matter. I just took this off of my Doctor Strange and put it on Ghost Rider because I didn't feel like going to get one. Especially since this one came with crit damage, I just thought, I might as well just keep it on Ghost Rider for now. But yeah, you most definitely want to have a Malekith medallion because the you'll be able to consistently heal yourself. So that way, it'll basically negate all the health cost that your abilities use. For example, the damnation requires like 1400 health, whatever, per second. With Malekith's medallion, you'll be getting 150 health per tick from your fire. So every single tick that the fire ability does to your enemies, you'll get 150 health back. So that's a really, really, really good one to use for Ghost Rider and Scarlet Witch and Magic and Doctor Strange. Any Magic user, I would highly recommend using Malekith's medallion. Now for the legendary item, the reason why I went with Mandalay Gem is because the rank 4 is actually that was my main priority, was rank 3 and 4 actually. Rank 1 and 2 is really, really nice as well. Rank 5% on any hit to cause an energy or wave of 10,000 energy damage. So that actually, yeah, this rank 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is actually really good for Ghost Rider because he can benefit from attack speed for his damnation. He can also regenerate 150 health when you hit with a firepower. So all of your abilities are fire powers. And the first two ranks, I mean, that basically just increases your firepower damage output. And the last one is just nice to have as well, nice AoE. Now to look at my stats, 41,317 average health, 34% damage reduction, And onto my offensive stats, I'm at 9.9% attack speed, 1194 crit hit, not good at all. 2344 crit damage, not good at all. 1199 brutal strike rating, not good at all. 2787 brutal damage rating, not good at all either. 124% base damage increase, that is fairly good. Actually, that's a really good spot to be at for the base damage. And yeah, so now I'll show you what every ability does. So this is what Damnation does, and watch with my health as well. My health won't drop at all. It'll be because my health is coming back up because of the Malekith medallion. So as you can see, my health is all regenerating when it shouldn't. So I will take the medallion off, and you can see my health going down. So that is a real big noticeable thing when you have that medallion. And it's not per tick as well. No, it is per tick. It is per tick. Never mind. So the next one is my square. I don't remember what this ability is called. What is it called? Chain snare. Alright, so a chain snare, as you can see, it just applied Hellfire. I'll do it again. It'll apply Hellfire to nearby enemies, and the damage output is pretty nice too. Next one is the Judgment. So my circle, automatic crit, brittles. The next one is my L2 square. I always forget the names of the abilities, so I'm sorry you guys. So L2 square was Inferno, and you can apply 2 of them, so it can basically hit twice as fast. And the next one would be Hell from Above, nice AoE burst damage. And then the next one is your signature, Penance there. Fears all enemies around. And then yeah, oh, and then the Infernal Contract. Fears it'll put fear against the enemies for a couple seconds as well. And then you'll notice when you have the buff, because, well, I have to actually apply it again because it just went away. But you'll know when you apply the buff because your Ghost Rider becomes like a little flamed. So it'll look like this. He has flame on his arms. He's pretty much glowing with fire, oozing with lava. And yeah, so this is how I pretty much go about my build. Apply both of these first. I would use Infernal Flame and slap them with that, and then just spam this, spam Damnation, and then if you can, use your Infernal Contract, Hell from Above, and then yeah, you don't really have to move a lot either, which is really nice with this, because your enemies will pretty much be feared, not like 100% of the time, but they will pretty much be feared a lot. They'll be on fire and whatnot. You'll also be getting healed, a lot of heals as well. So yeah, you don't have to move too much. I mean, you still do have to move, but not as much. So yeah, that's basically it for the Ghost Rider build. If this helped you out at all, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, comment. If you have any suggestions, as in like artifacts for the Ghost Rider that you seem to that you think would be a really good one for him, then go ahead and let me know. If you have any other character build questions, or if you want to see other character builds, go ahead and let me know. I only need to unlock 4 more characters, which is Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Cyclops, and Colossus. Those are the last 4 characters I need to unlock, so please, I would hold off on asking on those characters. But any other characters that I haven't put up, then go ahead and ask away, and I will be working on them. And yeah, so this is all day into day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.